All right. We are live
Hello.
again.
Again, round two.
Round two. Thank you, Selena, for coming on a second time.
Thank you for having me.
I don't hear any more tree cutters, so that's a good thing.
No, the tree is down. No, I'm kidding.
Were they working on it today too?
They were in the morning, so it's good that we just did it evening.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
They're not going to be working on it in this evening.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are you? What's going on? How has 2020 been treating you?
I'm good. Not much is going on. And 2020, I mean, everything is crazy, but personally, I'm, getting used to the homebody aspect of life and just, quarantining and focusing on me and creativity.
Yeah, no, of course. Are you working on any projects right now?
Right now, I have like a couple in the works that I'm working with like editors, getting it ready to release, but nothing like no scheduled shoots for the next couple months just because COVID.
I know it's getting really crazy here in California.
I mean, for me, my lifestyle hasn't changed that much because I've been quarantining, not really going out, but back in lockdown and, just living with it.
You better get your Instant Pot out because
I actually just got one.
You did?
That was, I think, like a month and a half ago. So I'm still not in like, I'm able to just like throw things in and it's good, but I'm gonna get there. So
Indian I mean that's kind of what it's for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just to throw stuff in there. Honestly, it's just really nice to put stuff in there.
Yeah.
After a long day of work, you come home and boom, nice and hot.
I know. I need to get used to it more because I'm usually the person who likes to lounge and cooking is like my relaxation. And then like Instapot's like, oh, 7 minutes? Okay, we're done.
So no, it's so crazy.
But it's awesome. So
it is awesome. I think one thing I like about it is that there's no stove cleanup.
Yeah. I think you went out for a second.
Uh-oh.
But you're back.
Let's see. Did you get me?
No, right, cool. I think. Yeah, I see you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, here we go again. But this year you were working on a couple of projects, right?
Yeah, I actually had, in general, 2020 was a year of like two of probably the biggest projects I've ever worked on came out and released, which is, just kind of crazy. Like on one hand, we're in quarantine and everything's standing still. But on the other hand, personally, I've had a lot of things happen. So it's been good, just very different. But yeah, we can talk about that right now. The two projects.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I was working with an artist. She's an R&B singer named SALEENA. She is up and coming. She's so talented, has like a beautiful voice and just wonderful personality. So she asked me to work on a couple of her singles and music videos that she came out with. So I met them in Philly. They came to my dance class, and SALEENA and her father, M. Night Shyamalan, which is like kind of crazy that they came to my class and liked my choreography. Yeah. It's surreal, but they came and they asked me if I wanted to choreograph her first single called Clarity, because being in the industry and being a young Indian woman, she wanted to have someone that mirrored all of those aspects and really got her. Like she wanted to embody that, even though her music isn't necessarily, it's not Indian at all, but she wants, doing that. We all want to bring that no matter what aspect or what we're doing. So I went, this was in last December, we filmed the first video, Clarity, and it was directed by her sister named Ishana. And so all three of us were kind of working as this trio, Indian girl, beginning of our careers kind of thing. And so it was just, amazing. Like I can speak forever and ever about our experiences and stuff. But so we filmed the first music video, Clarity, in December. So that was last year, and in Philadelphia. And then we worked on a second video called Mr. Incredible that came out last week now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it came out on Wednesday. So super, in that mode of like releasing it and, trying to hype it up and stuff.
Right.
So that came out, this last week, and we filmed that in the middle of quarantine. That was in July. So I ended up going to Philadelphia, quarantined, and we were all in this like little creative bubble, just working on this video, getting dancers. We held auditions remotely, like virtually, which was different and new for me. We hired 3 other Indian female artists. So they were all the dancers in the video. And I mean, just another, it's called Mr. Incredible, but it literally was incredible working with these girls. And the video is set in this like really dilapidated mansion, and it literally felt like a haunted house. Like what is in the video is like a cleaned up version of the real thing. Like we went in and we're just scoping it out with flashlights, and no, it was amazing. And being able to like choreograph it and being on the other side of the camera, because usually I perform like on stage and in videos, it was amazing. And it really like solidified that my feelings that I want to be a choreographer, in addition to a dancer. But it was really like the first time where I was fully the choreographer for both of these projects, and people were asking me questions and I just had any creative leeway that I wanted. So
right.
Amazing. So yeah, both of those came out in 2020. So kind of a whirlwind to say the least, but yeah, just keeping on that creative role.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Would you say so that is this your first time choreographing for an artist and for an artist project? Like, video and stuff?
Yeah, I've choreographed a lot, like in college and for my own dance videos, but this is my first time choreographing, yes, for an artist, especially non-Indian, like it's all R&B music, and for music videos, so it's all like benchmark, moments in my career. So yeah.
Yeah. How would you say your experience was? What are some of the differences, or what were some of the things you had to get used to choreographing for an artist?
So I think this is something that I not struggled with, but was something that was, I think, on the harder side. Was I usually choreograph for dancers and for like choreography videos. So this was different because SALEENA is not necessarily a dancer. Like I think she moves really well and she picked everything up awesome, but she doesn't categorize herself as a dancer.
Right.
And so my goal for both videos was to just like highlight her. I didn't want her to look like she's a singer trying to dance with backup dancers. Like that was like, I don't want that to happen. I want the dance and the movements to just highlight her natural movement and ability. So for me, what I was, kind of struggling with was making sure that she could do the moves really well, but not making it too hard, and all while making sure that like my choreography really stood out, because my first priority is making her look good, but I also want it to be like, oh, you can see my work and you can tell that this is something that I would put out there, but still making it accessible to her and the other dancers.
And how did you feel about the end product?
I'm very proud of both. I don't, I think we're past like having to preface like I don't want to brag or boast, but I am really proud of both videos. I think they are also very different. I don't know if you've seen them, but the first one, Clarity, is more of like a jazz club vibe. It's more subtle movements, really just highlighting SALEENA moving through the space. And then Mr. Incredible is again in this creepy house. We have dancers coming out, kind of like ghosts or like extensions of her, you know, mental health. So it's like a totally different vibe and very centered in dance. Like that whole video is basically a choreography video.
Right.
And so no, I am really proud of both. I'm proud of the team, Saleeka, Ishana, proud of the dancers. It's just, you know, I surreal. Like I have no words because, you know, you can think of something, you can think of how you want it to turn out. And for both of them, I feel like they've turned out better than I had hoped, which is great. And yeah, I think it just shows like being able to have that creative leeway and working well with a team with the two ladies. It just showed through on all aspects.
Yeah. I totally feel you. I think relationships and the environment of, you know, where you're creating is so key to putting out good work for sure, and then making sure that everything flows.
Yeah. Like you
100%.
you can tell in a project or even, you know, a real performance or anything, even like in a office, in a workplace, you can tell that the work or the end product, you can tell how successful it is based off of like the love and the cohesiveness backstage, you know?
Yeah. I truly think that whoever's, you know, a viewer can tell, and that makes a lot of difference as far as, you know, even just the kind of reaction that the viewer will take with them.
Totally. Yeah. I agree.
I think it makes a huge difference for sure. So you're not originally from LA.
Mm-mm.
Did you decide to come to LA to pursue dance full time?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I mean, I was born in Southern Cal. I lived in New Orleans for a quick second, but I grew up and went to school in Las Vegas, in Nevada. And then I went to school at UCSD in San Diego. And I mean, dance has always been a big aspect of my life, but up until when I was going to school, I was studying biology and I was minoring in dance, but my main focus was science. And I basically had to make a decision, like what I'm going to do in the future, what's going to happen. And I mean, a lot of things went into this, but I ended up, deciding to do dance full time. And so then I moved to LA because for a year I was kind of in between. I was finishing off school, but I still had already decided that I was going to pursue dance. So I was in San Diego, starting to reach out, put my feelers out and see what's happening. But everyone was always like, okay, are you based in LA? And I was like, well, I'm in San Diego. So they said, okay, contact us when you're in LA. So I was like, okay. It's kind of like a natural, like I had to, you know.
Yeah. So what made you decide, because, you know, for dancers who are trying to figure out where to move to, I mean, the two primary places would be LA and New York. But for one, I want to know, there is a lot of opportunity for dancers in Vegas. What was the reason why you wanted to come to, why did you choose LA?
Well, first, between LA and New York, because those were the first two places that I thought of. New York is, you know, obviously more classically based, more Broadway geared towards that. And I just knew that wasn't my forte and what I wanted to do. So that was, and I'm from West-ish coast and Vegas is close to LA. So I was like, it's closer to home. So that was my decision for LA. Vegas wise, I honestly had never really thought of staying in Vegas because most of that dance scene is related to like casinos and shows on the strip and stuff, which I would love to be a part of, but I knew that my dreams are kind of geared more towards choreography. So I felt like I had more accessibility in LA with people who I already knew or dancers I already knew or heard of or, you know, things like that. It felt like more of a traditional, loosely traditional place to pursue that for me.
Right.
But I mean, I would in the future, I would love to like choreograph and have a show in LA, in Vegas or something.
Oh, can you imagine? I think that would be so epic
that
to
would
have
be a dream.
a Bollywood show.
Yes.
or just anything cultural.
Totally.
Actually.
No, I think it could be amazing.
I think so too, and I think it would be a really big hit too.
Yeah.
Were your parents supportive of you, you know, pursuing dance? Was that a big thing for them, or were they 100% all in?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start just like beginning. Like I started dancing when I was 3, and my mom put me in Western styles. So I was learning like ballet, like kiddie ballet, jazz, hip hop, that kind of thing. And then I remember I watched like my first Bollywood movie because my parents aren't really, I mean, they're both Indian, but they were raised in America. So they're not really like, as far as like Bollywood, they're not really familiar or interested in Bollywood. And so I went into my Indian store and asked the store owner, and I said, or my mom asked, she said, is there any kind of, you know, Bollywood movie that centers around dance? Like Madhuri Dixit and Aishwarya Rai, and he's like, yeah, Devdas. So he pulls out this DVD and he gives it to us, and I watched Devdas, the remake with Aishwarya and Madhuri, and I mean, looking back, my life changed. In the moment, I was just like, oh my God, I want to do this. I love the beats. Like I didn't even know like it was like a classical tabla. Like I was just like, I like this kind of dance. I like the classical boom, 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 boom. Like I just knew that. So my mom put me in Bharatanatyam with my guru, Asha Gopal. She was actually coming in from Arizona every week. So she would fly to Vegas, teach on Wednesday nights, and fly back to Arizona every week. And so I love that immediately. Like I never really had that like year transition where I was like, I hate this. Like what's happening? I was always like, if I can one day dance like Madhuri, I'm good. Like this is the best thing ever. Like literally. And then I got into like Bollywood dances. I have 2 younger sisters. So we would like do our own Bollywood dances for our Diwali show or like weddings, you know, things like that. And then throughout this, I was always part of my school dance teams, like the pom-pom, you know, sidelines, doing dances, performing at basketball games and football games, that kind of thing. And then, so basically like dance was always so prevalent in my life. Like that was like the only hobby thing, extracurricular I was really like devoted to. So when I went to San Diego, I was also on that Bollywood dance team. So the whole, like basically my entire life, my parents are like, you're, you know, we know you love dance. Like inadvertently, I was always more focused on dance. Like if there was a dance project versus like a school project, I would always work on that, do it well, and like procrastinate and do this one last minute. You know? So I was always like, I mean, I'm obviously gonna dance. Like, you know, it was never like a conscious decision to do that. So fast forwarding to like my junior year in college, I was studying biology, and I was just struggling. Like I mean, I liked science, but I was like, I hate organic chemistry. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't feel like studying for this. When I study, it doesn't stay in my head. Like I just felt, but I didn't know that I was unmotivated. I just thought that I was dumb. Like I honestly was like, oh, I'm not smart. I'm not smart enough for this career path, this school. Like I was just like very lost in that regard.
Right.
So throughout this, my parents, my roommates, my best friends, everyone was always like, why don't you consider like doing dance full time? And that thought never, ever, ever crossed my mind. I was like, who does that? I never really knew anyone personally that was in like an actor or a dancer or in the arts full time. I never knew anyone. Both my parents are science in the medical field. So I just like disregarded that. That was not an option for me. I just thought I could just like muddle my way through and do this. But basically, you know, I mean, that's not going to work if I'm like struggling and not motivated in one aspect. And then I'm giving like all my time and passion into my dance team, which I was captain for 1 year. I choreographed all that. And so I just finally, my parents just put their foot down. They're like, you're going to stop studying science. I mean, finish your degree, but you're not going to pursue science. Do dance and see where that gets you. You'll still have your bachelor's degree. You'll still have it if you really want to pursue science in the future. But, you know, like all of us dancers were like, we have a short lifespan in dance or whatever.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Become a doctor and then become a dancer. So I was like, okay, I mean, everyone's telling me, so I should just do it. So that was, I mean, that's like truncating it. That was like a hard decision for me to actually say like, okay, I'm fully going to do dance full time. You know, there's fears in my head, like, what if I don't succeed, blah, 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 all of that.
Right.
But I mean, once I made that decision, it was almost instantaneous that I was happy. I was excited. I was motivated to like apply to jobs and see what I could do in the dance space. So I immediately, like after I made the decision, it was actually just like that moment of clarity when you're like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And so that answering your question, my parents were very supportive, and my dad being a doctor, he was like, if you don't like being a doctor, don't be a doctor. He was like, don't do it because you're going to hate it. And my dad said, just do what you want to do, but make sure that you are working as hard as possible in whatever you're doing. Like, don't be a dancer and then just like dance for an hour a day. Like, you need to be putting as much time as you would if you were in the medical field or whatever into your career. And so that is so, yeah, they were very supportive, but they're also still very hard on me because they're like, what's happening? Like, what's going to happen this year? What are you doing? It's hard to explain to people who are not in the industry.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's totally hard to explain. Yeah. But you know, I feel like that's where we're kind of heading nowadays. You know, everybody's kind of start turning into an entrepreneur, which is, you know, people in the entertainment industry, we've been doing this for many, many years. So, you know, project to project, it's nothing new. I think it's just a matter of getting used to not knowing when the next project is going to come, and always looking ahead, making sure that there are always things lined up. Because if you have a 9 to 5, right, like what's there to think about?
Yeah, exactly. When you're off of work, you're off of work.
Yeah, you show up and you know you're going to get the check bi-weekly or weekly or whatever. And you know when you're out, you know when you're on, you know when you're off. Well, it's not like that for us.
No, that is something that I also learned, you know, going directly from being a college student focused on my studies to trying to get into the industry. I realized, like, at first I was like, well, I don't have hours to my job. So I need to, every second I'm awake, I need to be working. I don't know if that's stretching, if that's dancing, if that's like researching dance, learning about dance. I need to be doing that. And how I was like when I first moved to LA, and that was 2.5 years ago. And I was burnt out like within a couple months because I was like, I wouldn't let myself like watch TV. I wouldn't let myself do anything. And so I've learned that now, like I have to set hours for myself. And if I, you know, at like 8 p.m., I can watch a show on Netflix and not feel bad because I was in that mentality for so long. Like, I don't have something lined up. I need to be working 24/7.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we all struggle with at the same time. When you don't have a 9 to 5, you have to make your own hours and give yourself a break.
Yeah. Time management is also crazy. Like, I thought I knew that in college, and then I learned it because of dance, like you physically can't dance for 12 hours a day for 7 days a week. You can't do that. And it's like not the best thing. So yeah, that's something I 100% had to learn.
Are you training right now? What are you taking any classes? Like, what are you doing to keep up with your with your body and all that?
So dance-wise, I'm trying to choreograph just as much as I can, not necessarily for anything specific, but like I'll just turn on music and I'll just set like, okay, you have to choreograph 3 bars or something. And so for me, that's something that I like doing, and I feel like it helps my creativity, because if I don't put music on or don't dance, I'm just kind of like in a rut always. So dance classes wise though, I've taken like a bunch here and there throughout quarantine, but this is something that I'm struggling with. Like I feel personally, it's really hard for me to like just take a dance class in my living room. I don't know why it's so weird to me, but like I have enough space, you know, but I don't know, I can't vibe with the people. I can't ask as many questions. I can't like, I don't know. It's just harder. But so like in that regard, I need to be taking more classes, but right now I'm not training like regularly like I am outside of quarantine. As far as like physical things, I work out like 3 times a week. I have my own, you know, set of kettlebells and my yoga mat. And I made a point that whenever I'm watching TV, I have to be stretching. So I'm just always, so that I'm like just trying to get more flexible, you know, because I know I'm not taking as many dance classes as I should be. So I need to be doing something. So that's like I know I'm stretching every day. I'm doing choreography and occasionally some dance classes.
Occasionally. Yeah, I mean, who knows how long we're going to be in here for. And that was, you know, the thing that I was thinking, I gotta dance somehow. And yeah, it's funny how
a lot. I said, are you training a lot? Like taking classes?
I'm like right now I'm taking Rohit's semi-classical.
Nice.
So I just took his class last week, and it was really fun. But I also decided to take the early bird class, which was 6:30 a.m. for me. I have never done kathak at 6:30 a.m.
Oh my gosh. That's a feat.
It was pretty intense because I think I woke up at 5:30 and I was, you know, I'm pretty cranky in the morning, and and I was stretching a little bit. But honestly, it was actually a really nice way to wake up to take a kathak class.
It sounds nice. Like if I could, I mean, if I had to, I would. But that does sound like a great way to just start your day, just with dance and just do it, you know?
Yeah, no, it is. It's actually really nice. And then I've been taking a contortion class every week, which has been super fun. I feel like you would really dig it because I know you're super bendy.
I've been wanting, I mean, you know, there's a whole list of things I want to do, but that is something that actually like really intrigues me to get into stuff like that.
Yeah, you might really, really like it. I enjoy it a lot because I've never been the most flexible person of the lot, but having taken contortion and learning from contortionists, they just know their body in a way where no one else really does.
Okay, yeah.
The way they explain things, the sensation, they know what things are supposed to feel, and then when they say that, you're like, you're right, I do feel this way, and it makes you, and just the active way of stretching cues that they give, it just puts you in a space of like being able to go much further than I could have ever gone. And it's like you're getting an internal massage. I've never really felt that before.
Okay.
It's an internal massage that you're giving yourself for an hour and a half. Wow. And you just feel like bliss after.
Wow. I mean, that sounds amazing. And after we're done with this, I'll get the information on where you're.
Yeah. And for people who are listening, you can check out Fit and Bendy. The studio is called Fit and Bendy, and the owner, Christina, she is phenomenal. I've been taking her classes, and I just love how juicy everything is in that class. It's so nice.
That sounds
really
awesome.
Nice. She teaches on Saturdays, and it's affordable. And I think your first class is free too. So.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna do that.
You should definitely check it out. So, other than that, I've been taking, workshops, people from different countries, and just people that I admire but wouldn't normally be able to take their classes. It's like now's the time. I have to say that that's one great thing about quarantine is because you kind of have access to everyone now.
Yeah, it's all about accessibility, and it's like all there at the fingertips.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and that was one of my goals was, okay, well, I normally can't go to India.
Yeah.
Who can I train with?
Yeah.
Or Argentina or Mexico, and it's just phenomenal. I'm having a blast taking all these classes, but you do have to put yourself in a space of like, okay, I'm not in my living room. I'm in class.
Because I live in a 1-bedroom, so I have my bedroom is separate, but I have like just basically a big living room. And at the beginning of a quarantine, when everyone was like free dance on Insta Live, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll log in, I'll do it. That was hard because I'd be like, oh, I'm just in my sweats on the couch feeling lazy, I'll just take a class. And so that transition was not good because I was like, I eat there, I sleep there, I am now dancing here. It just like didn't make sense. So that's something I definitely, when I'm working out, that's what I do. I'm like, I'm not in my apartment, I'm at the gym. Like,
yeah. And it helps to change your outfit.
Yes. I have to put on a sports bra. I have to put on leggings because otherwise I'm like, I can't dance in sweats. I can't do it.
Yeah. No, it's just you're gonna end up just sitting on the couch. But so that's the classes that I've been taking. I know that you have done a few pageants. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious to know, is there anything that you've learned in that world, in that space that you've brought over to dance?
Yeah, I actually did pageants when I was younger also. I was part of not Indian pageants. They were like state pageants in Nevada. And actually I did a few little circuits, but I knew I really liked it. But this is when I was younger, that the community was very like, what you would expect from like pageant moms and things like that. It was, not the best experiences. I was fine. I didn't really like experience like bullying or anything like that. But I was just kind of turned off from that when I was younger. I did those when I was in like end of elementary school to middle school. So I was younger. But then I did get back into it for a couple years before I went to college. So this was in 2011 to 2013. And those were Indian pageants. So one was Miss India America, one was Miss India Globe. And I really liked it. Like overall, it was very fun. Like for me, I love being on stage. Like I love being a performer. Obviously, I also love dressing up. So it was all like, check, check, check. This is fun to do. And this was before I went to college. So I was still very much just like in my Vegas bubble. Like I didn't really know, again, anything about the industry, anything about like people in LA. So something I've definitely taken away from those pageants was just being able to see a bunch of people who are in the industry, who are artists, but they all are doing like totally different things. Like they all have like different pathways of what they're doing. So that was one thing that I was basically kind of like the first time I was a little bit immersed in like the industry, being in LA. Mm. And then two, something that I really took away was being able to like speak in front of people. I had never been part of like speech and debate and things like that. So when I was younger, I wasn't that confident speaking in front of people. But when you're on stage and you have to answer questions and talk to the judges and talk to your contestants, not even like when you're performing, but after when you have a title, you have to talk to a lot of people. And that was something that I enjoyed, and I learned a lot of how to communicate with people, how to talk about yourself without being like braggy or like you're just boasting about what you're doing and just having those conversations about dance or performance or acting or modeling or whatever. So those are a couple of things that I have taken away from. Like, I didn't enter those pageants really to be like, oh, I'm going to be the next Miss Universe or something. I was doing it to, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'll be part of this pageant. I did pageants when I was younger. So they were fun, but I also, I did learn those skills of, just being able to be in front of a camera more, being in front of a stage, and it's like yourself. You're not acting as a character, like in dance where you're portraying, I'm this classical dancer, I'm this jazz dancer. It was just like, that's SALEENA, and we're judging her on her. So I learned a lot about that.
Interesting. A lot of dancers have an easier time performing because they're playing a character, but as soon as you take them out of it, it's like super uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that was something that I had to get used to, because it's daunting. A pageant is daunting. Just you're walking in heels on a runway and everyone is looking at you just based off how you look. That's the bottom line of when you go into a pageant, but you learn a lot more things. It's not just about that, but it's daunting when you first, step into that. So yeah, I learned a lot in those aspects.
Wow. Yeah. I can only imagine. So after you decided to become a dancer, you moved out here to LA, and what did you do? Did you start, did you apply for teaching jobs? Did you, audition for companies? What was your plan?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know what my plan was, honestly. I was just, at the beginning, I was just saying to myself, just get any kind of performances you can do, any kind of jobs you can do, whatever you get, just do it. That was my mentality when I first moved to LA. So I remember like the first week I lived in LA, obviously I was, just sitting down, I was like, now what? Kind of like, where do I start? What do I do? So I just applied to every like Indian dance company I knew of in LA. I applied to literally every gym in LA to ask if they would like a Bollywood dance instructor. I don't know why, but I initially did like that old fashioned thing when I just like printed out my resume and walked into like Equinox and I was like, hi, I would like to apply. And they're like, you have to go through our website. But that kind of thing where I was like, drove to all the 24-hour fitnesses, drove to all the gyms, just looking for anyone who's open. What else did I do right when I moved? I auditioned for like a different agency. Can you see me? Okay. Mm-hmm. I auditioned for different talent agencies. I just did whatever I could without really having any connections. Like I was just doing anything I thought I could do. Right. And so eventually what ended up happening is I started at a company called Choreography. You interviewed Kavita.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. This was like a bunch of cold emails and just like to everyone. And so she responded, she said, yeah, sure, come in, let's talk. And so I joined Choreography, and then I started working. I still do this. I teach at elementary schools after school. I teach kids dance. So I do Bollywood, jazz, and hip hop.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I started doing that and I was like, okay, this is a good, first step. And then outside of that, I was just trying to work on my own choreography videos, like for my YouTube or just anything like that, my Instagram, things like that. And then I also, which I still do now, I do social media for a company on Instagram. So I do like their social media marketing, their websites, things like that. Super part-time. So I was just like, if I could have a couple part-time jobs, I think I'm good. Yeah, so that's what I did when I moved here.
Nice. And then how did you find out about the Mystic India audition?
How did I find out about that? Oh, I know. Well, I've seen like Atma and Mystic India for a long time. Like I had always seen the shows because I knew Anisha K from college. I also knew Shay. And so I saw that they were like a part of this, which I thought was cool. And so I reached out to Shay and I asked like, what's it like? I've heard the show is hard. I've heard, you know, like not that I really talked to anyone. I don't know who I heard that from, but I was just like, I've heard it's like a crazy show. Did you like it? Was it worth it? You know, like basic questions like that. And she was like, yeah, I think you would be really great at it. You should, I think she posted about the auditions. And so that's why I asked her and she's like, yeah, you should go. Yeah. And then I just came to the auditions.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, you came in on the last year, unfortunately.
I know. That was kind of sad. I mean, because I liked it a lot. But yeah, that was a whirlwind learning all the
yeah, you put a lot of work in too.
You taught me so many of the dances and I felt like I was like, I don't know, I couldn't retain anything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always I talk about this with the girls all the time because they hate me. Like they literally hate me for
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, but as a dancer, when you're learning it for the first time, you're thinking like, oh, I have plenty of time. But if you don't know what the show is and you don't know what you have to know in this amount of time, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this is too much stuff. I cannot handle this. But I mean,
it was how many numbers? I don't even remember now. It was like 12?
I want to say the girls were you in 12?
What's normal? How much is the full show?
I want to say between 12 and 14. Yeah. 12 and 14 for the girls.
Yeah, so I was probably in 12.
That's a lot, yeah, especially if it's your first time, and it's pretty normal to have some tears running down your face.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had tears when I was practicing on my own. And I was just like, okay, because I write down everything I need to work on, and it was just like, because I mean, those dances, they're so fun to do, but I mean, the choreography is like good. Like it's not just like a basic Bollywood gig. It's a real Bollywood routine. But for me, the harder part was all the formation changes.
Right.
In 2 minutes, there's like 10 plus formation changes, which is crazy. Yeah, and crazy. Way more than that. And then the costume changes where I was fine with, but that was just an added thing where like, oh, and you have to change in and out of a whole Bharatanatyam costume in a minute. What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have to say though, it's definitely trained, having gone through that experience, it's almost like it makes you feel like you can do anything for sure.
Definitely. I think, I mean, whenever it happens, next time I have a performance or something, but now I'm like, I did Atma, I did Mystic India. I'm good. Yeah, just because it is so high stress, but that feeling of like after you finish the show, I mean, I only had 4 shows. You've had like countless, but when finishing that show, you feel accomplished. Like I was like, I'm a dancer. Like I did it.
Pat yourself on the back, girl. You did it.
Yeah. So worth it though. I love that show. And I love all the people in Atma, in our what is it? Our tour of Mystic India.
Good. I'm glad you had fun. We didn't get to dance together, but I at least got to teach you a couple of things.
A lot of things.
I want to talk about, and this is something that a lot of young dancers and probably still, seasoned dancers go through. I want to talk about, some insecurities that you've had, maybe first, deciding to become a dancer, or maybe that you still have now that you're kind of working on, and maybe, shed some light on how you've been able to deal with certain insecurities, whether it be, about dance or just in general.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest insecurities is not being good enough. I mean, that's so general, but really, you know, um, being able to stand out in the industry and being unique, because that's something that in all aspects of my life, I really try to be unique and like different. And and I think a lot of people are trying to do that. And so that's a fear of mine, or an insecurity of mine, that I won't be good enough for the industry, or I'm not good enough, or sometimes if I have a project or an opportunity, I'm like, did I deserve this? Like, am I qualified to this? Like, I feel like I'm qualified. I feel like I'm prepared, but just given, like, did I do enough things to get up to this point, you know? I think that's a big thing. I think another big thing, specifically like related to the industry, is where's that fine line of being unique, but also and standing out, and being able to book jobs and cater to what the industry is needing. Because I get I get the same like responses from a lot of people, potential agents, you know, casting directors, things like that. It's always like, we like your look, we love that you're unique, but we don't have any job opportunities for you. Because I am, I hate the word fusion, but I'm a fusion dancer. I feel like I'm the most trained in Bharatanatyam and jazz, but I also put Bollywood dance, obviously, because I do a lot of Bollywood dance. And a lot of people aren't looking for Bollywood dancers, for fusion Bollywood dancers. They're not looking for that. And so I think my insecurity is like, am I just trying to fit this classical square into this like commercial circle? Like, how do I fit myself into this industry? Or if I try to branch out and make it my own, am I good enough to do that? That's like this is something that, I mean, I deal with internally every day. Like, when it comes down to every move I make, I'm like, is this one move unique enough? Like, do I need, like, how do I change this finger? Literally, like, how do I change this to something that's unique? Like, you know, so I really, yeah, exactly. So that's something where I'm really, like, I really am trying to go not against the grain, but really trying to stand out without having it be like, there's no fit for you, there's no place for you. So that's something. And I think in general, not really as related to dance, I always feel a little insecure that I'm not smart enough for things or people. Just, I think this is from my college experiences of like being in classes surrounded by brainiacs, and, you know, don't feel like I'm smart enough. And that's something where I'm like always trying to learn and always trying to increase my vocabulary and stuff, because I'm like, I'm trying to be really smart and really intelligent and really eloquent and a great dancer.
Yeah, girl. I think that's something that a lot of dancers struggle with too, because we spend so much time in our bodies, and I think people don't take that into account, that there's a body intelligence that people don't really celebrate as much, or think that it's not as important as, you know, intellect. But
definitely,
I completely think that there's a body intelligence that, you know, yeah, they're just, I know a lot of smart people who do not know how to move well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And not even like they have to learn how to dance, but it's just a way of you know, there's a way of expressing, right? Don't they say over 60% of communication is done non-verbally?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and so there has to be intelligence there. You know, but I totally do think that, you know, dancers should spend a little bit more time trying to use their words
Yeah.
and communicating, because we don't spend that much time doing that.
Yeah.
But it's our way of being able to communicate with those kinds of people in the world, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
Whoa!
Woo! I just talked a lot.
I'm having a blast getting to know you here, SALEENA. What's in store for you? What are your plans for the next couple of years, assuming things go back to normal?
Yeah. That's a very, I mean, you know, obviously.
Well, I definitely know we want to work. I want to work with you for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think starting from like big goals, like dream big goals, is to be able to choreograph for either an artist or a company show or something, something a little bigger scaled. I like working with a lot of dancers, like 10 plus. I like working with a lot of dancers in that regard on stage. I really like. So like big picture is like ideally being able to choreograph on tour for an artist or on stage for a dance tour or a show in Las Vegas, something like that. That's like my ultimate like top goal.
Like a big production, basically.
Production, yeah. Because I like not only choreographing, but I also like just that creative directing aspect of not that I make costumes and stuff, but of having some creative, you know, input on costuming or like production, things like that. I just would like to see an actual like show. That's my like, you know, big goals. I think in the next few years, I want to be really focusing on my personal endeavors as far as like my own choreography videos, just making them a little bit more high production, more of a storytelling aspect, not just I'm dancing in a dance room. Look at me dance. Something that actually has a story behind it. Not like it doesn't have to be serious or political, but just anything. Something I just want to be more of a storyteller in that regard. That's something that I want to focus on my own endeavors. I have a couple more things happening with Salika with her
nice
stuff. And ideally, once things go back to normal, I want to be teaching a little bit more consistently in LA, hosting my workshops and stuff, because I like dabbled in it very, very little. I just taught like a couple classes, but I would like to start something a little bit more frequent. And I think I want to gear that more towards classical vibes. Mm-hmm. Because I miss that and I like that. But keep it still like what I vibe with. I'm not really trying to do an Aladi-poo, you know, but I want to do something that is, you know, really classically based, but resonates with our generation.
More contemporary.
Yeah.
Are you teaching virtually?
I'm not, but I was actually going to start announcing at the top of the year that I'm going to be starting like privates and teaching virtually. But that is something, you know, on my list of things that I'm like, how do I prioritize this? And again, standing out because I know so many people are teaching online. So, you know, kind of figuring out a clear pathway or like clear practice and, you know, like scheduling for that.
Yeah. Well, it's holiday season, so don't get caught up with the desserts now.
I know, right?
And also there are I think we're going on 8 billion, but there are 7 billion people in the world. Even you just taking minimal steps, you will stand out. So hopefully that made me feel inspired to do more. Let's move to our 5, 6, 7, 8 questions. They're just pretty rapid fire questions. Do you have an extremely embarrassing dance moment?
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of just like costume malfunctions. That's the first thing that just pops in my head. One time I was in high school and on dance team, and we had to wear like strap on, like a bunch of straps are happening, a bodysuit, that kind of thing, and my bra just pops off. So I had to like dance, you know, this kind of thing, and I just shimmied off stage. That's something that's super embarrassing. One time I had a 9-yard sari just unravel on stage. But that wasn't as embarrassing. That was just like a mishap. I think those are like the biggest moments. Just like in general, costume malfunctions are like the most embarrassing, and you never know how to handle them. So yeah.
I really love those moments. What is dance to you in one sentence?
Creative outlet and my life force.
Yeah, life force. What do you draw from for inspiration?
I really try to educate myself on different genres and dance styles. So I will like sit and watch a ballet performance or like full, even contemporary pieces just by very well-known established choreographers. That's where I get inspiration and see like how, when they made it big or when they got popular, what did they do that was unique to them?
Nice. That's always good. What has been a big challenge that you faced in your life that kind of has set you up for success, or maybe looking back you realized, oh, this is a blessing in disguise?
I think that's definitely back in school when I was struggling through classes and stuff. And at the time, I felt like I wasn't going to be successful in anything I chose. But that was 100% a blessing in disguise, because I think if I wasn't struggling, I would probably be doing something in the science related field. So that is 100% something that I, changed my life, the course of my life. But taking those, I got that work ethic that from being a student and applying that to my dance career and field,
Feel
me?
I feel you, girl. What habit have you implemented this COVID year that's kind of made a positive shift for you?
Letting my creativity speak, as far as if I'm in the mood to dance or choreograph, I'm going to just lean into it and do it. And if I'm forcing myself to be creative and I'm not feeling it, just kind of taking a step back and seeing, why am I feeling like this? But I think that kind of goes hand in hand with not having judgment on myself if I'm not able to be creative, because in my head, I'm like, I'm at home all day. I should be coming out with like boom, 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 so many things dance related, and that doesn't happen. And so not feeling guilty for that is something that I have implemented. I don't know if that's a habit kind of thing, but just kind of a mindset shift of knowing like, it's okay to not be creative at every moment that you have time to be creative, and leaning into that creativity when it sparks. Cause I'm like, I need to jump on that.
How do you get yourself out, as soon as you start feeling like, okay, I'm starting to feel bad about not, being productive? How do you take yourself out of that feeling guilty?
I try to at least improve my physical health, as far as like, okay, I'm going to stretch then for 30 minutes and think about my dancing and what's happening. Or maybe make a plan like, okay, I can't get this done in this day, but I'm going to give myself maybe this week, and hopefully I come up with X amount of things that I need to come up with, like X amount of minutes or bars or something. But I think I guess just getting that mindset shift was the main thing. Just like knowing like it's okay. My deadlines don't have to be crazy because I am setting them for myself.
Right, right. And so what helps you basically is to say, okay, I'm not able to do this right now, but it's going to put my mind at ease if I plan it for later.
Yeah. But without like having it procrastinating, still like knowing I have to get it done by, if that means by Friday or, you know, over the weekend or something. So, because it's easy to get into that little habit of, okay, it's fine. And then you just never get it done.
Right.
So yeah, setting deadlines, but not feeling guilty or judgment towards myself if I don't get it fully done within that deadline. But I think that's a great thing about quarantine and this time is like we don't have any, personally I don't have a lot of pressing things that are happening, so I'm able to do that.
Right, right, right. What is the worst advice you've ever gotten?
You need to cater to what the industry wants. Like you need to be I guess one of the run-of-the-mill dancers. That's what I got a lot when I first moved to LA. Again, going back to, we don't have space for Bollywood people. We don't have a lot of auditions that are asking for this type of dance. Classical fusion, what is that? So I was really trying to, you know, see if, you know, get a lay of the territory and see if, okay, should I be trying to stand out and be my unique dance self, or do I need to go within that? And a lot of people told me I had to do that. I had to cater to what the industry wanted.
Yeah, I got that same. Got that same thing too. But I just knew I even just as a person,
Yeah.
I don't fit into a category.
Yeah,
So
like
that was something.
Continue.
Yeah, no, that was just something that it was easy for me to just kind of let it go and be okay with not being categorized.
Yeah, because like I just knew as a person, like I'm not even gonna fit in that category, even if I try to do that. Like no one is. I'm still gonna be like probably at like the smallest fish in that pond if I'm trying to wedge my way into something that I don't feel like I'm meant for.
Right. Yeah, I agree. What's the best piece of advice you've gotten?
I mean, I guess the opposite. Try to be unique. But I think something else that has really changed my life is that everyone's path is different. Everyone's timeline is different. I don't, if I've lived in LA for 2 years, that doesn't mean that I get this done. And that means that I'm going to get my bigger goals. Like that's something that I've learned, or people have told me, that it's like, there's no single pathway for each person, and I can't follow in the footsteps exactly to a T of this one dancer that I look up to or something. So that's something that I definitely realized, like, oh, okay, you can't compare yourself, and everyone's timeline is different.
Everyone is completely different, and if you can't compare yourself, it makes you feel better.
Yep, 100%.
Because there's no one to compare yourself to.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question, where can people find you?
Ooh, I'm on Instagram and YouTube. Those are my main 2 places. So my Instagram is SALEENA with 3 E's. So SALEEENA. And then my YouTube is always linked to my Instagram, but it's my full name, just SALEENA KHAMAMKAR. And you can look that up, and that's also my handle on YouTube.
Work. Thank you so much, girl. I feel like I'm really excited for your career, and I am excited to see where things turn out for you, for sure.
Thank you so much. This is so fun. I feel like, and this is for you. I know we talked about this a little bit, but just, you know, connecting all the dancers in the industry. You were telling me this, and just learning more, empowering each other, learning about each other's dreams, what their past, like everything. I just really applaud you for doing that because I love hearing it and seeing.
Yeah, thank you. No, absolutely. Like, this is going back to what we were just talking about. We don't fit into one thing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very important. It's kind of my life's goal to bring those people that don't fit together.
Yeah. I mean, the only way to help, like, to get through, I feel like, is to help each other. Like, there's no point competing against the people who are doing the same thing as you. Why not work together and build up together, you know?
Yeah, and there's so much room. There's infinite amount of room for everyone to be able to express themselves. There really is no use in competing with each other, and I think the best way to create a new industry is to come together and be together, because there's just more power in that. So thanks for coming on and sharing your story too. I hope people get to know you a little bit more, and I can't wait to dance with you again.
No, I'm so excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah. All right, girl. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.